It's time for the World Tour of Mario Kart. Leo went to the Nintendo Switch 2 experience in Toronto to get hands-on with the Nintendo Switch 2, Mario Kart World Tour, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and more. Plus, Joelle shares her first impression of Clair-Obscur Expedition 33, and Kat brings a new game called Pokémon or Metal Band. Strap in. It's a long one, but a good one.
Get ready for the Girls on Games podcast. Your weekly dose of news, reviews, and everything video games. Always served with a good helping of hype and just a pinch of salt. And now, your host, Leah.
Hello and welcome to another Girls on Games podcast. My name is Leah and I'm the host of this show. This is episode number 492, and joining me around the digital table includes Catherine. How are ya?
I'm good, yourself?
I'm excellent. Joelle, what's up?
Hello. It's gonna storm here, so we'll see if a tornado sweeps me off to Oz. I don't know.
Good Lord.
It's very windy.
Well, it's a political storm here in Canada because today is voting day.
Go vote.
Already done.
I already did. I went during my lunch break.
Yeah, I went just after work, and it was pretty straightforward, pretty easy. There was not really anybody, like it wasn't busy at all when I went. But apparently Canadians are voting out in droves, so that's great.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think they just really managed it. A lot of early voters.
Yeah, because the early vote was during, you could early vote, I think, for all of the long weekend, Easter long weekend. And I think a lot of people took advantage of that.
Yeah, just went and did their thing. So yeah, after this podcast episode, we'll find out who's our new Prime Minister, I suppose. Yeah. Let's get through some housekeeping. If you enjoy this show, you can subscribe. We're available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Podbean. If you'd like to get some GOG merch, you can do that by going to designbyhumans.com/shop/girlsongames. Or if you'd like to give us a tip, maybe buy us a coffee, you can do that by going to our Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/girlsongames. Reminder, we have episode 500 coming up. And with that, we want to celebrate with you. Join us for a special community event episode recording and become a game master for a round of Game On live on the show. Anyone who would like to take part must plan a podcast game to challenge the GOG crew to. Each game can last up to 5 rounds. It can be a new game of your creation, or pick one of the many games we've played in the past, like Walk Down Memory Card Lane, or Two Lies and a Truth. It can also be 2 Truths and a Lie, Quotable and Notable, or there's a whole list of them. Check out a Discord. We've got a channel specifically for Game On 500, and we've got a whole bunch of lists there. So missions right there in that Discord channel. If you want to contribute but don't want to be live on the show, no stress. We can organize a podcast friend or a previous guest to jump in and run the game for you. On scheduling, episode 500 is really not that far away, but we're going to have a wee pause because of vacations when it comes to podcast recording. So once we're back, we'll organize the recording time. And at the current moment, it kind of looks like that's going to be early July. So if you have any questions, comments, ideas, they are more than welcome. Please put them in the Discord, hit us up on Twitter, whatever you need to do to get a hold of us and find out. We really look forward to playing. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm ready for the laughs, and it'll be fun to celebrate 500 episodes with everybody together. Yay! Woo. All right, now that we're done housekeeping, let's do the crew check-in. Ladies, did you try to get a Switch 2?
I did not.
No?
No, my day Thursday was so chaotic. Shout out to Darth in the Discord. He said if he could get a second one, he would give it to me, but he only managed to get the one. And honestly, a lot of it was laziness, because there's a GameStop by me that still had stock.
Oh, yeah.
So if after the work, I would have just gotten up and walked over there, I probably could have gotten like a Mario Kart bundle. And then the next day, some GameStop still had stock. So they kind of like reorganized it, sent more bundles to areas. So I don't think like, apparently GameStop did not get rid of all of their pre-orders so far. GameStop Canada. But I think they've also prioritized in-store pre-orders.
I heard that a lot from people that online was a shit show, which I encountered, but that physical retailers did have stuff like way into the next day, like you were talking about.
No lineups.
People forget that you can buy things IRL.
Yeah, and I think for like just for logistically, just to save money, GameStop figured like it'll be easier to ship to stores than to ship individually. So I think they just prioritize people picking it up in store. So I don't know. I might, like I said, I might look into it, but it is like 700 bones, and for a console that we don't use that much. So, but I want to play the new like I'm gonna get it eventually. I'm just not as, I guess, excited about it. I think I'll do like for the Switch one. I'll wait longer into the console cycle.
Okay.
Slightly longer. I waited less than a year, basically. But either that or I'll grab one once they have the Christmas stock. I'll see if I can just like walk into a GameStop like randomly, because that's how I got my Switch the last time.
I remember that.
I walked into the Source, La Source. For those that remember that.
It doesn't exist anymore now. No, they're Best Buy Expresses now.
Yeah, and I think the La Source on Saint-Hubert, which is where I got my Switch, is now a GameStop. You know, I'll just walk in there and be like, you have one? And if they have one, I'll buy one. But
are they called GameStop, just GameStop in Canada, or is it also still called EB Games?
I think they got rid of the EB Games branding altogether.
Okay. I don't know. Like, I always think of GameStop as US and EB Games as Canadian, but yet the same thing.
But it's because GameStop acquired EB Games.
Right. Okay, that's
because
why.
EB Games was Electronic Boutique, which was basically a Best Buy, which was like a computer store. And then they did the EB Games sub-branching, which was just like smaller game stores. And eventually they got acquired by GameStop, and I think they all got rebranded by GameStop.
I didn't know that, and maybe it's because where I grew up in Newfoundland and like didn't really encounter one until I was like 18, 19 years old.
I might be like, this might be coming out of my ass, but I vaguely remember in the 90s like going to Electronic Boutique to buy like fucking printer cartridges for our dot matrix, like printer, you know what I mean?
That is the noise. That was really accurate, Kat.
It was. And then like you had the perforated paper on the ends. And then you fold over and
satisfying.
tear.
Ripping it off, except for the fact that when you'd screw it up and rip into your document, you're like, shit.
I know, then you had to do it again. The ultimate boss. Perforated edges.
Do it again. Oh my. Joelle, did you try and get one?
I had every good and pure intention to get one. However, I think a coworker got me sick.
Oh,
and so
no.
I wasn't feeling well. I set up an alarm.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not going to be able to stay awake. I'm going to fall asleep. I'm not feeling good. Like, I sat down when I got home from work on Thursday, and I was like, whoa. Like, it kind of just hit me real quick. And I was like, this sucks. So then I set an alarm. I slept through the alarm. And I woke up the next day, I checked, and I got ready for work. I checked a few websites. Everything was sold out. I called a few GameStops around where I lived, around where I work, because I don't work, like, super close to where I live. And they were all out. So I said, fine. I have an app called Hot Stock. And that's how I got the PS5. Was like it alerts when you sign up for specific retailers if they restock an item that's really popular. So I signed up for that just in case like I can snag one, because rumors are maybe some Walmart US they're gonna restock for a pre-order. But then I did have a friend who tried to get multiple, and he actually might get a few, so I might grab like one of his. in case I can't get one like day of. But I'll still keep trying. Like if I, I'll try a pre-order. So we'll just see. But unfortunately, I I had every good faith intention, but I couldn't. I did not wake up.
It was.
I heard it was rough.
One of the oddest pre-orders, I feel like, because of the weird staggeredness of it all. Yeah. So I don't know, if folks are listening that attempted to pre-order and trying to figure out like when, what time, all that kind of stuff. It was staggered. So Walmart had their pre-order go up at midnight on the Wednesday into the Thursday. And I was trying to do that and kept having it in my cart and not being able to check out. And like it would check out and refresh and it would still be in my cart.
Oh, yeah.
Over and over and over again. I did that for almost an hour. I was watching the Oilers play, and I was like, I will just keep going. And then at one point, I was like, I need to go to bed. I got to get up tomorrow and maybe do this all again and go to work. So, like, I got up the next day, made it so that I got in when the Best Buy pre-orders were going up at 9 a.m.
Oh, wow.
That website was not doing great. And I was in a meeting at 10 a.m. along with, and we're around a table, like, with, like, 15 people. Me and a colleague were both trying to get it, and we're like, we're sorry if we're distracted. It was really funny because poor Ruby was like trying to get it, and then someone asked her a question, and she's like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I'm in this line trying to get this thing, because like it had like this gradual bar that was like growing as you were going into the weight room.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, nothing there, and then ended up having a meeting that was going like 11:30 to 12:30 that I was kind of in and half running, but I told the other 3 people on the call, I was like, hey, I'm going to be distracted because I've got one thing up over here. The GameStop one, Canada, was supposed to start at noon. And then around noon, somebody in our Discord channel, I think it might have been Kyle Darth, mentioned the Best Buy app, which I had already set up and had ready to go. And then I got it in there and right away was able to get one and bought one. And I'm pretty sure I screamed yell enough for my entire office to hear me because they all were like, did you get one?
Cute.
So yeah, I managed to cop one and then ran downstairs to try and help Ruby get one as well because she was on air at the time. She was checking out with it in her cart, but it was making her like re-log in again, and then it was sold out because it was like the console sold out first and then the bundle sold out, which I was really surprised it was going to go that way. I thought it was going to flip the other way. The bundle would sell out first because it would have been, I guess people just didn't want to spend that kind of money, but like it would end up being more expensive later anyway because you're not getting the bundle of the game with the pack-in.
Right.
So, so I had signed up for Amazon, which I still didn't see any alerts for purchasing it on Amazon. And I'm in the one for Nintendo eShop. Yep. So still in that. So, Kat, there's an opportunity, too, if that kind of rolls out on my front. I can always ship it to you, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, then I told Ruby, I was like, if something pops off, I'll let you know. And then she texted me the next morning. She was actually able to go into a store and pick it up or pre-order it as well. So, yeah, it was an interesting adventure and like the talk of the town within the building because, it's Nintendo. Everybody wants to do it and play it and whatever else, kids, adults alike, right? Yeah. And then some folks were also involved in something I'll talk about later where I got to go to the Nintendo Switch 2 experience in Toronto. So I know there was a bunch of other, colleagues at work who were going to that over the course of the next day or two. So it was a very Nintendo heavy week in the office, which is great. But then, this week was also kind of busy on my front and expensive because Mike decided that it was time we were going to gut the puppy palace area where we had Gibson's kennel and everything because he's big enough to stay out on his own. And now we've turned it into his simulation racing space. So moved everything out, cleaned it out, put in a new monitor. It's a 34-inch wide, ultra wide curved monitor that he's got set up in there. Damn. You know something that's crazy though? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out, like, trying to get the aspect ratio to work properly with a PS5. I think I need for him an HDMI 2.1 cable so that it can do the 1440, because it's grayed out right now because we just pulled the cable that came with the monitor, and I don't think it's one of those. So yeah, he's just got that ordered, but he just raced and he was faster, and he's like, this may be just the placebo effect of having this new rig set up. But yeah, we're gonna redo that whole space, and it's gonna be set up for him. And now I've got my TV back, so then when I've got my Switch, I don't have to be regulated to the back office. I can sit on the couch and he can race, and I am very happy about that.
Great.
Did you guys do anything outside of trying to buy Switches this week, Kat?
Last night, I'm walking around and I hear like a flippy flappy, and I look at my wrist and my Pixel Watch is just open. The adhesive, at first I thought my battery had gone spicy and had pushed the thing open, but it turns out the adhesive just failed. I went on Reddit and people were like, yeah, the adhesive fails. I'm like, cool. And everybody was like, oh, even if it's out of warranty, send it to Google. They'll send you a refurbished, blah, blah, blah. I was like, bro, I'm in Montreal. Every other corner is like sushi restaurant, vape shop, phone repair, sushi restaurant, vape shop, phone repair.
Yeah.
So I went to the corner over there.
Try there first.
And I found a combo cell phone repair shop and vape shop all in one.
Oh my God.
Say sushi. I thought you were going to say sell and sushi.
That would be the trifecta. That would be like the Triforce of Montreal
power
shops.
Power, yeah.
Listen, the other day we were walking to the metro and the one near the metro station had closed, and I was like, oh no, where will people get sushi? Like, at one point I told my boyfriend, like, when we were walking home, like, either you're walking home, like, on Beaubien or Belange or any kind of, like, those main street, I'm like, oh, we should walk with a flask and take a shot every time we walk past a sushi takeout place. And he was like, lady, that is a plan for alcohol poisoning. I'm like, let's do it for vape shops.
You do all three, and you're really going to be hammered by the time you get home. You'll be arrested for a drunken disorderly.
We won't get home. We won't.
Just roll you home.
We'll be halfway through, and it's just like, nope. So anyway, I show them the thing, and I'm like, can you glue it back? They're like, does it still work? I'm like, yeah, and the battery doesn't look spicy. Like, doesn't look like it. I think it's just the adhesive. And they're like, yeah, come back in 20 minutes. I was like, cool. So I walked out, went 2 blocks over, went to vote.
I thought you were going to say went to get sushi and a vape.
I did too. I was expecting
sushi and a
roll.
vape.
Yeah, sushi and a vape.
No, went to the there's a primary school near where I live. That's always where my polling station is.
Yep.
Went in there. I was like, hi, table, whatever. And they're like, they point at it. Nobody's there. I'm like, amazing. Voted and then walked out, realized I still had to wait for the guy to glue my Pixel Watch. And it was a beautiful sunny day. So I just kind of like walked around a bit listening to music. And then I picked up my watch. And yeah, he kind of like, there's a bit of like the rubbery glue a bit on the edges that I've been picking at to like clean it. I don't know how good of a job it is. I don't know if it's still like water resistance and dust resistant. I'm like, it cost me $10. I am not going to worry about that. I don't wear it to swim or...
Yeah.
I just like the fitness tracking, the step tracking, and the sleep tracking more than anything else. So I'm like, if it goes, it goes. This is a first generation, so having
How long have you had that for?
I remember talking about it when you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought it when it first came out in October of 2022.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
So they're up to the third one. This is the OG.
Oh.
This is the first one.
Okay.
So having something like the adhesive go, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Where does it glue down?
Yeah, where's the glue?
Just like
in between the face and the
back, yeah. They're actually pretty easy to pop open.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, it's really just a band. It was like almost like a double-sided tape, like just a ring.
I'm looking this up.
And that's what gave it away. And then it was just kind of like hanging by the screen connector, and I was like, oh god.
Oh God,
yeah.
indeed.
But yeah, between that or trying to order the electronics fixing glue, like the glass, I'm like, I just paid some dude $10.
Yeah, and then you don't have like all
yeah.
this extra glue for no good reason that's just going to dry up by the time that you next want to use it.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna use it. So
Yeah. Huh.
that was pretty much it. I didn't do much this weekend because the weather was shit, and then it had the audacity to be perfect today on a Monday.
So people would go vote.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Mother Earth telling us, get out and
Yeah.
vote.
The universe is, yeah. Listen.
Do it.
Do it now.
Do it
before it's too
now.
late.
Other than that, today, Pascal destroyed me. Because we finished Mythic Quest, so we started watching Severance.
Oh, I need to start that.
I don't know if I want to continue. I feel it's...
But, like, you know, like, Severance is corporate as fuck. Like, it
Yeah.
has, like,
But
some-
isn't that the point?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but there's a big sci-fi element, but it's corporate as fuck. But anyway, we closed the TV, and he's like, so how do you feel about us watching 2 shows about Ubisoft? And I nearly cried.
Oh,
that's funny.
burn!
I
In
nearly
the words of Kelso.
cried.
He gotcha.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, we still haven't finished watching Mythic Quest. We started in at White Lotus, finished season 1, started season 2.
Yay.
Everybody made it up to be the biggest like twist, but like I don't know how I feel about it.
Oh, season 1?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
Season 2 better?
Oh, yeah. Season,
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Season 2
Okay.
is way better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like the twist was the twist and everything, and like
Yep.
it was good.
Yep.
But like, for the first while, Mike and I were like, "What are we watching?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"I know it's a who done it or a who died, but like,
Yeah.
what a
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, season 2 I think is peak.
okay.
So I'll see what
Cool.
you think. So I would definitely go through season 2. And then if you still feel the same way about season 2, then I would not watch season 3.
Yeah, I've heard that. I have heard that.
Yeah.
How about you, Joelle? Did you do anything fun this week?
I did. I don't know. Had that cold or whatever on Thursday. I don't know. Honestly, who knows what it is? You know, like, is it my cycle? Is it is it a virus? I was like, somebody asked if it was COVID, and then I informed them that I actually, to my knowledge, have never had COVID. So
What?
I have
Same.
never had it. Yeah.
What?
Always tested negative.
Always tested negative.
Damn.
Same.
So I was just like, I don't know what it is. I think I'm asymptomatic from COVID, but because I know I've been exposed and I just didn't get any symptoms. So I think I'm one of those like super spreader people. So
Pascal had it twice. I've
you
had
didn't
it
get it?
0.
Oh my god.
yeah, I've
you
had
mutants.
it none. So
You guys have the superpowers.
I think so.
X-Men.
But I'm also not prone to lung infections.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Something for the sinuses though, but I'm down. The
Yeah.
lungs,
Yeah.
I don't care.
So I kind of rallied a bit, and then Saturday it was Art in Bloom at the Minneapolis Institute of Arts, where it kind of kicks off spring, where local floral artists get to like bid on which installation in the museum they want to recreate out of floral blooms. And so it's so fun because it's such a big event. People get dressed up in like springtime floral couture and like flower crowns and flower hats, and like it's really fun, and people taking pictures everywhere, and the museum smells like flowers. Like this huge 3-story huge museum smells like flowers. It's so cool. And you can go in all the little pockets and like see all the little floral interpretations of the art pieces. And it's so fun. And I have a friend that does it every year. So I got to see her and say hi. And a lot of the artists were there talking about their pieces. And it was really neat. It was really cool just to hear about their interpretations and what they had to do to like, bring the art to life in a different way. So that was really fun. And then Saturday night, I went to a candlelight concert where it's a 4-string quartet and they covered Fleetwood Mac songs.
Ooh.
So that's
wicked.
Phenomenal. I cried through half the concert. It was so good. It was just, it was phenomenal. It was so beautiful. The musicians were so talented, and I had no idea this was a thing. So the first chair violin, her violin was made in the 1500s.
What?
And she's still playing it.
Wow, the insurance on that must be freaking gangbusters.
I'd be I'd be really afraid to take that anywhere. But it just was bonkers that something was that old and still rocking. It was phenomenal. So it was a really, really fun concert. They played a lot of the greatest hits. And I don't know, Landslide just gets me in the feels every time. I was ugly crying. And then I had a busy weekend, and then Sunday I did a 201 fly fishing class.
Oh, you did it?
Yes, where we went and actually casted on some water. It was a really tiny, little reservoir with some tiny little sunfishes, but it was just kind of getting you used to casting on the water and get caught on weeds and trees and how to avoid those types of things. And I caught about 3 fish, so was able to have some luck, and I bought my fly rod. So I'm so excited. This is my first fishing rod that I have purchased, and so I have a fly rod. And I have a reel I got for my birthday. I got a bunch of all that stuff. So the only thing I have left to get is really the flies. And then I'm ready to go. And it is so fun. I feel like if you have any sort of attention deficit, a short attention span, or kind of anxiety, fly fishing is actually really nice because you're kind of constantly moving the rod and managing your line. So you're always kind of doing something. You're not supposed to just sit still. Because sometimes when you're doing regular fishing, you cast, you just have to sit there. Which can be really boring if you need constant stimulation. If you can't focus. So fly fishing is really nice because you're constantly kind of moving the rod, watching your line, pulling on your line. And then when you catch a fish, instead of reeling it in, you pull on the fly line, so you can really feel the fish and feel the tension of what you're doing. And then when you cast, the weight of the line is what throws the line forward, and so you allow the line to spool through your fingers, and it's a very satisfying sensation because it's kind of made out of a silicone almost type of coating on the line. So sometimes I'm just I was learning to cast. I'm I just kind of this feeling of the line going through my fingers while I'm casting. So anyway, if that sounds interesting to anyone else, it was a nice little surprise for me. I was oh yeah, I'm really gonna like this because you're kind of you're gonna be in the water, or you can be on the bank, and you're gonna just be constantly kind of moving your arm around and trying to cast sufficiently, and it was pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to doing it, and hopefully I can get somewhat decent at it. So,
do you feel the inclination that you might want to get into tying your own flies?
I don't know. That's a whole other level.
Oh yeah,
of buying all the stuff,
arts and crafts.
Yes, 100%, and also then you got to mimic bugs.
Yes.
Because you're supposed to mimic what's hatching so that the fish will bite what you have on your line. So I don't know. That's another level that I'm not sure. There's a guy at work with a work colleague who does that, and they're really cool. But then, you also lose your flies a lot.
Yes. You can't. They're not precious. That's why people learn how to tie them, because they lose them so much, right?
Yeah. But then I feel also, if I tie something and I spend an hour, in the beginning he said it took him about 8 tries to get, to really kind of get the movement down.
Yeah.
And I was well, if I spend all this time tying these things and then I lose them, am I going to be more upset than if I just buy them? Because the kind of the trash flies or the smaller flies, they're $3.
Yeah.
So and to get all of the materials to make them is going to be way more than $3. So
yeah,
I guess
back, like my dad used to do it. He doesn't really do it anymore, but he used to do it. And I guess back in the day, like one thing, furs and stuff to make the tying stuff was kind of easy because, you know, they had it. But then also too, just like probably harder to come by the flies anyway. So they might as well tie them themselves, right? Because it just didn't have spots to purchase them the same way that we do now, right?
Yeah, like I think it's so easy accessible to go and to order them online or I was even when I was looking at around the cities of where I could purchase just like fly fishing equipment specifically. There were some places that had like no fly fishing rods or anything else, but they had flies.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I can probably, it's easier to go get flies than anything else. But I don't know, like we'll kind of get into it and like maybe at some point and we'll see. But it was a fun thing to do. And I think it's going to be really a fun experience because you're kind of out in nature and you get to kind of pay attention to what's around you, what season you're in, what fish are there, what are they eating, and then try to match that. And then it seems like you're going to be fairly pretty successful at catching fish, and it's a little bit more of a learning curve. Like you're not just going to plop a bobber in and let it go, but it's a little more dynamic, a little bit more engaging, and I'm pretty excited. So we'll see how the adventures go. But I just also like that I can keep everything in my car, and if I'm like, oh, I want to find a crick, and I want to go fish the crick. Like, I can just stop and plop in, and, like, I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to try to grab bait or whatever. So I'm pretty excited. And, of course, there's tons of fun accessories to gather as I go.
Oh, yes.
But yeah. So
ain't that the truth? Joelle, I'm always excited to hear your adventures because you're always game to go and try something new. It brings me so much joy.
I was just thinking, like, I do a lot of stuff. Well, I think the other thing, too, is, like, if I want to do more traveling, I feel like I've acquired a lot of skills that then won't, like, limit me to the types of things I can do. So I have my motorcycle license. So if you want to, like, take a motorcycle across, a space of country, like, I can do that. If I want to go scuba diving, that's something that I can try to do. And then now, like, fly fishing, like, we can go do fly fishing. And so, I think the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, oh, this will be really fun because it really diversifies the type of experiences I can have when I'm, like, out and about. And so I think, I don't know, I'm sure there's something else I could learn to do. I think it's also part of the OCD of, like, like, I'm bored. What else do I need to do?
No, it's cool because, like, I find sometimes it's hard to get off the couch to go and do something new, and it's so easy to stay in your house.
Oh, it is. It definitely is. I just think I get like environmentally stagnated of just like, I've been inside too long. I need to go outside. I've been outside too long. I need to be inside.
Yeah.
Like, I need to do a triathlon. I need to bake sourdough. I need to learn how to fly fish. I'm just like, ding, 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 ding. So yeah.
Sweet. All right. Let's look at Fantasy Critic Leagues. Hard to say, leagues. And see how things are going. On the podcast league, quick update, Clair-Obscur Expedition 33 came out. That was on Kat's roster. It had a critic of 91, which means 22 points for Catherine.
Oh, that feels good.
On the bids, I went on a shopping spree, but only some of it registered. I attempted to buy the Elder Scrolls for Oblivion Remastered, but I couldn't because it was no longer eligible because the game had released and the game had already had a score. So I had really tried to grab that as soon as it was announced, but it just didn't work. I did manage to pick up Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, though, with a bid of $5, and I picked up Hollow Knight Silk Song with a bid of $5. So
I meant to get it. I'm not good at the windows.
Yes, and that's what would get me. I would usually remember around the time that the podcast was happening when I was pulling this, and I'm like, I could go put a bid on that. And then I think also to... those were tied to one of the Nintendo events, and and that's when I was thinking about it too, like in thinking about the Switch and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's why. Nobody dropped anything this week. The ranking has changed though. Catherine is now sitting on top. Then it is me, and then it is Joelle. On the Community League, let's see. We had a few games come out that people had picked up. So, working backwards, Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion Remastered was on Jessica Starr's list. Critic of 83, 13 points awarded. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves was on Albane's list. Critic 81, points 11. Clair-Obscur Expedition, I am saying that right, 33 was on Albane's list. Critic 91, points 22. The 100-line Last Defense Academy was on Pat's list. Critic 87, points 17. And then Jessica Starr had another one that came out, Shantae Advance Risky Revolution. But for some reason, there's no open critic link for that one yet. So it has a little warning next to it. I guess it's just waiting for enough people. I don't know who creates it or how that works. But yeah, if that, it just needs the link in order to register the points. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. On the bids, Stainsby Kingsby went on a shopping spree. Marvel's Wolverine is the first one he picked up as a counter pick for $5. And then also picked up Shadow Labyrinth for a bid of $5. There were no drops this week. On the community roster, I did see in Discord some moving and shaking on the ranks. Currently in first is Margot, then Albane, then Pat, then Stainsby Kingsby, Ross, Kat, Fred, Jess, me, NJK, Kyle, Simon, Phoenix, and Joelle. And that's where we stand.
Margot just shot up.
Margot went
she
bananas.
Threw a blue shell and passed everybody.
Yeah. Man, I mean, I'm just trying to roll down here now to see her list of the games she has. Yeah, think about it. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which had 90. Wanderstop, which had 80. Blueprints, which had 89. Bionic Bay, which is 87.
That Blueprint was a good pick.
The counter pick that she has was Fable. And I'm pretty sure Fable, so that might, but it might not come out, so 0 points, right? So no win, no harm, no foul. But 2 other ones that she has on her list got counterpicked: Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game, and Deadlock. So we'll wait and see on those. But yeah, I love how it's really moving and shaking in the Fantasy Critic right now. Ladies, what are you playing? Kat?
Finished South of Midnight. Dear God. And you were right, Joel. It got kind of grindy. And I also didn't realize, again, it was the final boss.
Yeah.
That's Catherine's MO.
Yeah.
This is so hard. Why? Rolls credits.
I mean, there wasn't much of a warning on this one, but yeah.
No, it's not like, like Dragon Age or Avowed, where it's like, hey, you're starting the end game. This one is just like,
I think on this game in particular, that would be a really easy thing to do, actually, based on how the final boss is done.
Yeah.
Like, I was even like, wait, is this it? Like, I even wasn't totally sure. So I feel like that's really fair. But
I was expecting, slightly spoilers, I was expecting the older woman to be the boss.
I was too. Yeah, I was.
So when that story took a different turn, I was like, I was pleasantly surprised. But I thought we were going to duke it out.
I thought so too.
But then we don't.
Nope.
So yeah. Again, very hard to end a game. But this one, I wasn't expecting the ending to be that spectacular, because they were like getting things set up to like, hey, you're chasing your mom, so are you gonna find her? Or are you gonna reunite with her? Mm-hmm. So for that, I was pretty much expecting that. But it is honestly such a great game. I'm so happy I finished it and I played it. Wasn't too long. Honestly, it didn't overstay its welcome. Mm-mm. I think in terms of length and like story beats. Mm-hmm. And again, because of my assumption that this person was the actual villain or the antagonist, I was expecting to fight them. That's why I thought there was like another story beat after the fight. But
Yeah.
and then I sat there thinking, what do I play next? And I looked at the Oblivion remake.
Oh.
I looked
Oh?
long and hard, and I was
Ooh.
like, do I have the resilience for the Bethesda jank right now? And the answer was no. I was like, do I want to possibly have to scum save because I'm stuck in a rock? Or do I want to like struggle with certain NPC AI? But game pretty. And no, so I set up my final playthrough of my Dragon Age anthology and went into Dragon Age Veilguard
Oh,
with
wow.
a plan, only to find out that there are no Templar builds
Oh, no.
in Veilguard, because I wanted to be like, like all mages then a Templar, or I could have done another mage and maybe try and do like another. I think next time I have like the itch to play Dragon Age, it's going to be just Templars all the way through. But then in Veilguard you can't. But I did roll a warrior, sword and shield, and I went with the Mournwatch the Reaper specialization because it felt like Templar adjacent. But after so every Dragon Age game so far, mages are OP, right?
Yeah.
And I think for Veilguard they tried to like review that, right? I think
Even out the ranks a little bit.
Yeah, because I think in terms of like Dragon Age like tiers, it was like, oh, you're mage, and then it's either like the DPS warrior or the a rogue build, and then after that you have the rest, right? For Veilguard, like I played the melee mage, the orb and dagger, and I struggled a lot. I died a lot and whatnot. Now I'm playing this warrior, and I'm not too precious about party composition and making sure that, you apply weaken, I can detonate. I'm not being precious about that. I'm actually looking into some of the abilities I didn't use before, because then it's like, there's always an ability that doesn't apply a state, but that does something. Like how Lucanus can eat through magical barriers like they're fucking butter. Stuff like that. So I'm like, I'm playing on not the easiest, but the second easiest. Like
Would it be normal?
Yeah, I think it is. Because they have
Is it 3 tiers? It's like
Yeah, I think
easy,
No, there's
normal,
4 of them.
hard,
Oh,
there's
death.
4 of
Four.
them.
Okay.
Or maybe even 5. But anyway, I just went with the one that has like, hey, good story and combat is still kind of challenging. I went with that description.
Yeah.
The second on the left. I am plowing through this fucking game. I am powerful. I am resistant. I can take a few hits. I also already, I think it's 2 things. Just being a warrior and being able to get hit in the face more.
Yeah.
And already being like, hey, Belara, you're going to be my healer. And like spending as soon as I could my points into her auto heal. But even then, like before, I had like her or Emmerich as my healer in my previous game. I would still like burn through my potions. I think like I was not set to be like I should have been like a mage that kind of like hangs back. And I would really like struggle. I would always have either Tosh or Devrin there to be so that they could pull the enemies or that they could do the invulnerability and stuff like that. Like I was always managing stuff. This time around, I'm just walking around throwing my shield willy-nilly. I was always out of mana as a mage. You always have rage as a warrior because you generate by hitting people or getting hit.
Oh, it's like an infinite renewable resource.
Exactly. So because you have to build rage as a warrior, you start the fight with nothing.
Okay.
Right? You can't use your abilities. You gotta hit, and then depending on what you put in your skill tree, getting hit will also generate rage. And then you can put stuff so that rage doesn't decay as much. I'm always full of rage. I'm always like I'm just like popping my abilities
Ken is
mood
always
for
full of rage.
2025. Yeah,
Full of
Hulk
rage.
smash. Hulk smash.
Hulk
Yeah.
secret. Yeah.
So it's completely different. And I'm like, is Warrior the new OP in Dragon Age? I didn't try rogues that use stamina. And I think stamina is a bit like mana. You start full and you deplete it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Rage goes the other way around. And I'm just like, I think you kind of like have to manage yourself early combat, but once you've generated enough rage and you have enough people hitting you in the face, you just kind of like pop abilities left and right. You spam them.
Very fun.
Yeah.
It is so much fun. And also like the Reaper build, I'm going to start siphoning people.
Yep, that's super fun.
I am like, yeah. And I already like, I'm plowing through the story because I know the story beats, right? And I already know which choices I'm going to make. I'm like, already like they were like, hey, do you save Minrathous? I'm like, Treviso, we're saving Treviso. I already saved Minrathous last time because I was Shadow Dragon. This time around, I want to smooch Lucanus on the mouth, so we're saving Treviso. I was like, second thought. I was just like,
that's right.
And it's like, and even every story beat, I'm just like, before I was being precious. Now I'm just like, Solus is an asshole. Fuck this guy.
That's right.
I rolled a dwarf too, so like it's just this stout little dude with long...
Your odd job.
Yes, but with long, beautiful, flowy hair.
Perfect.
Amazing, because it must be done. It's required.
Oh my god!
It is just like he is the most beautiful, violent dwarf, and I love this game so much. As much as like the Veilguard is not the strongest in terms of like the Dragon Age games, in terms of certain stuff, like in terms of story, in terms of character. I think I'm playing it again, and it's pretty obvious that it had probably some of it was thought for multiplayer, like the factions, like the Veil Jumper and everything, like being so big on the that's some multiplayer bullshit. But yeah, the fashion being so extraordinarily over the top. I found early in the game, I found an armor and it was a shadow. Like suddenly I've got like 3 layers of cloth on me, and on this stout little dude with the hair everywhere. I'm just like, I am just a bundle of colors, a bundle of cloth, just going into battle. The helms, because I was a Kunari before, so Kunaris don't wear helmets. They have like the face paintings. This time I'm wearing helms. They're so ridiculous. I found one that looks like it's a full face, and then the back looks like hedgehog quills, but it's halfway through a hedgehog mask and a gimp mask. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Oh my gosh.
I was...
It's wonderful. I love how colorful it's so colorful. It's just like, this is entertaining. Like, this is just fun. Like, this is just fun.
People were like, oh, you're alienating your fan base because like you went with an art style that's like much more cartoony and whatever. I'm like, this is honestly the best case scenario. Like this, I am really enjoying it. Like, as much as I can see the flaws in it, and as much as Inquisition was like the game for narrative, Veilguard is the game for gameplay. Because a lot of like Inquisition at the end, I was just like, all right, I'll do all your Asteriums, I'll find all your fucking shards, and and it just gets grindy, and combat gets grindy. Veilguard, like that aspect, never gets old. And now that I'm playing like a warrior, I'm just like fucking shit up. And I am so good. They're like, oh, if you can manage a perfect defense on a perfect defense, you'll get like these skills. I'm like, oh yeah, give me all the stuff. Like I can parry, I can perfect defense. I got 4 years of For Honor behind me. This shit's easy now.
I'm like, master.
Bring it. Yeah. So I'm not even being too precious with my build. I just kind of like looked over kind of which abilities I wanted, and I'm just like, I just gonna stick to like these 3 things for the whole thing, and then I'm just gonna make 2 parties depending on like, I'll have like, I think Tash and Davin are going to stay home a lot, to be honest, but I'll make fair. I think I'll make a Bilara Lucanis and Emmerich Harding type of combos, just so I can have like variety. But I played I think 6 hours over the weekend, and I'm already like through most of the early game. Like I have my full party already. I have all the characters. I went to
nice.
meet them. I did like save Treviso or the other one. I went to meet everybody. I got Tosh and Emmerich, which are the last two you grab. So yeah, I don't think this is not going to take very long, guys. I am going to power through this, but then I'll be done. My Dragon Age anthology. But these were all my thoughts as I was playing this weekend. And also it's the story about Varric. Now that I know, it is very obvious from the beginning.
Aww.
There's a few dialogue cues where I'm just like, I could have picked up on this and gotten like read into that from the beginning.
Hindsight's 2020.
It is, but also they dropped the clues, and I was just like too excited, looking everywhere, looking at the long, luscious hair on my rook.
Of course, some things are going to get lost. That's the nature of it, and that's why it's fun to like go back and replay games, to go back and reread books, like to go back and watch a show again, because there are things that like there's just too much information thrown at you at the beginning when you first go through it, right?
I'm also like I'm actually looking forward to the end game.
Cool.
Because I think I remember the end game being like so much fun, and with the build I'm going for and the characters I'm going for, I don't know. I think going with the dagger and orb with the electric build for my mage was like not the best thing. I think so. This one I'm having some necrotic and some fire abilities, and it was just a lot of physical damage. Just like, I'm resistant to your fire. Are you resistant to my sword and my shield in your nuts? No. So, this is cool. This is great. Rediscovering old games, and then after that, maybe I'll turn on my PS5.
Yeah. It's either that. Or play
Kat.
one of the gazillion Xbox Game Pass games that are fucking bangers right now.
Yeah.
I almost installed. I'm going to be honest. Like, I was looking at Oblivion. I'm like, nah, I can't do the jank. And then I was hovering over Dragon Age Veilguard, and then I just kept thinking, do I download Clair-Obscur?
I went and downloaded that this morning, because everybody's talking about it. Joelle, it looks like you played it. No, because I downloaded it while I was working, so no. I'm ready, though.
Make sure you give yourself... Okay, if you're going to start this game, you need at least an hour.
Okay.
Like it's gonna... The beginning, take your time when you're in the first section.
Yeah. Before
you leave the island. I can say that. That's fine. And that's known pretty quickly. So, but take your time in the beginning. I felt like I rushed a little bit because I was like, I want to get to the story. I wish I would have taken a little bit more time in the beginning. And then, because once the gas hits, you're like, you're gone. So, I started Oblivion, and then I was like, I don't know. This game is dark and dank and old, and I was like, okay, I played about an hour or two of that, and I thought, okay, well, I have Clair-Obscur, and I know people are loving it, and I wanted to play it, so I'll just start this and see which ones I want to continue. So, and after, the matter of fact, I'm definitely going to finish Clair-Obscur Expedition 33 before I go back to Oblivion. 100%, because I've never played an Elder Scrolls game, and while Oblivion is beautiful, I don't know.
She's
The art
janky.
style.
She's
yeah,
janky.
and the art style of a Bethesda, I'm just not like
2006, guys.
Yeah,
this was
like,
originally came out in 2006.
But
So
like I want the cartoony lights, everywhere, and like fun colors and crazy costumes. So I was like, all right, I see. So, but I'm doing back to Clair-Obscur. It is gorgeous. It is so beautiful. It's by Sandfall Interactive. I believe this is the studio's first game. They're I think they're independent. Are they independent? I think they're independent in France. They were founded in 2020. And I want to just read the blurb of who we are on their website because I think it's really great. It says, "We believe the latest game-making technologies now make it possible for indie teams to deliver outstanding production value in a realistic 3D graphic style. With a focus on single-player experiences, we want to deliver incredible stories with intriguing characters in gorgeous fantasy worlds. We build the best pipelines we can to achieve this goal while keeping the creativity and agility of small teams." And boy, have they ever delivered so far with intriguing characters and gorgeous fantasy worlds. This game is set in Unreal Engine 5, and the definition of Clair-Obscur, Kat, do you know what it is?
Isn't it like a turn-based combat?
No, but do you mean like the definition of the word Clair-Obscur?
Yeah. It's like Caravaggio. It's in painting. It is when you have like the big contrast between light and dark, and a lot of it is like mostly shadows with a bit of light. But it was introduced with Caravaggio.
Okay. So that's what that means. And so this game, there's so many layers in this game. The characters, the plot, the environment. It is contrasting left and right, of shadow to light to color. It is so pretty. It is so pretty. And it is a turn-based combat type of game. And it does, for me, I haven't played a whole lot of turn-based combat, JRPG type of style. So for me, it took me a hot second to kind of get into it. And the menuing is very similar to a Persona game. So very stylistic, really interactive and cool. Parrying is really important, and dodging is super important, because these enemies will ruin your day if you don't do it. So I flipped it to story mode just for the little beginning, just so I could kind of get used to the mechanics and the combat. I might bump it back up to see how I fare after I get used to it a little bit, but it is a little tough, so I'm not gonna be too down on myself if I just keep to story mode and want to get through the whole game. But it is a very unique type of plot, and I'm really, really interested to see how it's all gonna like shape out, and if talk about like landing the plane and finishing the story. Really interested to see how it all unfolds. It's very mysterious and really cool. So it's you're part of a group that needs to basically uncover the mystery of why things are happening the way they're happening. I don't know. I kind of don't want to spoil it for you because the way that the tutorial lays out the story is really, really special, I think, to experience. So I didn't want to kind of get too much into the narrative. But it's really fun.
Just the thought that all of a sudden there's this turn-based RPG that like everybody's clamoring on again, kind of like when Persona 5 came out. I'm like super excited about that. So like, yeah, I find that like they're kind of rare to find. Like you got a few like Sea of Stars and then the Mario ones and things like that kind of like add in those action elements along with it. And like I know one of my favorite ones that really had a really different kind of mechanic was that one, the Child of Light one.
Oh yeah, where you can push people on the timeline.
Yeah, exactly. So you can mess with the orders and all that kind of stuff because it's not everybody's time is a little bit different of when they may, because maybe they're fast, so that their time may come up sooner. But yeah, just the fact that there's something like that, like, and just like Game Pass, man. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, I sat down the other day after we talked on the podcast and downloaded Oblivion. Well, because it had come out, because we had talked about it, saying it was going to come out, and then it was announced. So I've downloaded Oblivion, South of Midnight, and Blueprints, and literally sat there staring at the screen and was like, all right, I'm going to try Blueprints. And then this also came, and I'm just like, now I want to get off Blueprints, but I don't want to stop Blueprints, and I want to start this instead.
I know. I did feel a little bad. I was like, I played like 3 games right in succession, and I kind of just want to finish Clair-Obscur just because I want to really know what happens.
Yeah.
I don't want to get it spoiled, because I think that as we go through, I think you're going to see more and more spoilers. And the design of the enemies is really futuristic, but yet grounded. So like you can look at it, and if you've played games, you kind of already get what they're all about, which I think is really smart. Of recognition of the gameplay, but then also still leads to uncovering how to interact with them, like in the gameplay format. And then also with this one that I did notice too is that it does tell you which turn is coming up, and so that helps you as you build up your gauges and your specials as you go along. So I find that is a fun additional layer to strategy, kind of like what Sea of Stars did, where you want to use a power and then build it up again. So how are you going to do that with so many turns with your people and things like that? And your party does grow. So right now I have a really small party. I'm expecting more people. And also there is no like HUD, or I haven't found a way to find like a map. So you are kind of just exploring and going along. Which is good because you find items and like currency as you go along. But sometimes you can get a little turned around, but that's kind of the point of it. So don't kind of expect to just always go the right way. Just kind of go away and discover what's at that path, and then decide if you want to continue down that path or if you want to try a new one. But that's one thing too, where I'm like, oh, it does not. It is not going to tell you where to go.
Yeah.
But it is also an open world. You can only go so many places. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. I can't wait to start that. But I don't know how I'm going to be able to put Blueprints on the side.
I don't know.
Because, like, damn. Like, first off, I didn't realize, and maybe it was just me being me, and sometimes I complain that the bleach is like hitting into my head, but like blueprint, drawing cards, drawing blueprints, drawing, you know, like the puns are real. Good Lord, what a good game. I can understand why it took him that long to build it too, because it's layers upon layers upon layers of puzzles. Mm-hmm. With the caveat that it's also roguelike. So you don't be too discouraged if you screw up, because you're gonna screw up and just do it all over again. But thank God there are a few things that are like permanent upgrades that you can kind of grab to like help things out a little bit. I already opened up one that gave me extra steps every day, and I've opened up another one that gives me 2 gems every day.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and and then I have some sort of thing that like I can go to and then pick a shrine that can help me out over the course of a day. So yeah, this game is cool, and it just looks cool. Yeah, like Mike walked in on me playing it, and he was like, "Whoa." The art style is just so neat. But yeah, what a phenomenal puzzle game. I can't wait to finish it up. I have been watching some other people kind of play it, thinking mostly along the lines of, what is the strategy for drawing your rooms, right? And deciding, you know, do I put a dead end? Do I not? And knowing that like certain rooms will only show up on the east or the west side or at the far corners of the map and far sides and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of crazy. I got one that's like a permanent. So like there's one cell that's always the same thing now, but that's intentional.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I won't speak to too much of what it is, but like, yeah, what a wild game. And it really does have vibes of Myst because of the, like,
Yes.
there are puzzles within each individual room, some individual rooms. Then there's puzzles that take multiple rooms. And then there's puzzles that are almost every room. Or puzzles where it's the key is in one room up top, and then the other the where you're interacting with it is somewhere else entirely different. So I legitimately have a notes app on my the notes app going on my phone with notes and screenshots, and yeah, it's fun, real fun. You know what else is fun? A game of Game On.
Yeah.
This is a video game podcast, so let's play a podcast game about video games. Kat is bringing us, is it called Pokemon or Metal Band?
It's going to be called Pokemon or something else. This week iteration is Pokemon or Metal Band. I will name,
God.
I will say a name. You have to tell me if it's a Pokemon or if it's a metal band.
Ooh.
I got
counting on you.
I got inspired by TikTok
There's like
where people were doing Pokemon or like infectious disease or Pokemon.
I saw
or
that.
you know, and I was like, I'm sure I can find Pokemon or something the girls know about. And so I am
Hilarious.
tapping into Leah's love for music
Yay.
today.
There are like 1,000 Pokemon at this point.
I know.
Oh my God.
This was like the most fun I've had, like making a game in a long time. I was like, I am
Okay.
so inspired. So
I love
I
it.
have 12 names,
Okay.
6 bands, 6 Pokemon.
Okay.
They are in alphabetical order, but
Okay.
that's it.
All right.
That's all I can tell you. So our first one
Yeah.
is Chateau. Like the French word for castle, Chateau. Is it a
Chateau?
band or is it a Pokemon?
I'm going to say a band.
It's a Pokemon.
Oh.
It's a band.
Damn. Okay.
Ah!
I was thinking of the Sandcastle one.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, I picked good. Okay, Chateau were a new wave of British heavy metal band formed in 1981.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
All right, next one,
Okay.
Duraludon. Duraludon.
Duraludon.
I'm going to say a Pokemon.
Band.
It is a Pokemon.
Damn!
It is a Steel
Joel's way
Dragon
better at
Pokemon
this.
introduced in Generation 8.
Oh my god. It's a what?
Steel Dragon, dual type,
Oh, okay.
introduced in Generation 8.
Okay.
Next one, we have a pair.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Flotsam and Jetsam. I might be pronouncing some of these shit wrong. I don't know. I haven't played a Pokemon in a hot minute.
Pokemon?
Flotsam and Jetsam.
I think that's a band.
I'd say Pokemon.
It's an American thrash metal band.
Yeah.
Really?
I
Formed
was
in
like,
Phoenix,
yeah.
Arizona in
You've heard it
1981.
Nice.
I vaguely...
Flotsam and Jetsam?
Yeah.
Jetsam. The Jetsam, I was like, I've heard that.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nice.
They were previously
Okay.
known as Paradox, Dreadlocks, and Dogs.
Wow.
All right. Our next one. Houndstone. Houndstone.
Band.
Houndstone?
I'm saying they're a band because I think there is a Houndour or a Houndoon in Pokemon, but not a Houndstone.
Yeah, that one is tricky. I am also going to say a band.
It's a ghost type Pokemon introduced in Generation 9.
Damn it.
And it's literally a dog with a tombstone on his forehead.
Oh my god. There are so
Wow.
many Pokemon.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right.
Look at what this one
All
looks
right.
like. Hound. H-O-U-N.
Yeah.
Stone.
Honestly, like the next, like the
Oh, it's
last-
that guy.
Oh my gosh. I was
Okay.
like, there's no way a Oh, okay. Well, I should know better.
All right.
Okay, what's next?
My bad.
Next one. Iron Valiant.
That's a band.
I think it's a band too.
It's a fairy fighting type paradox Pokemon introduced in Generation 9.
God damn! What are they? What's the name of it again?
Iron Valiant. It kind of looks like the Gardevoir, but apparently it's a standalone Pokemon.
Okay, yeah, it does kind of look like Gardevoir. Gardevoir.
All right.
Gardevoir.
Next one.
Yep.
Leaf Hound.
It's got to be a band.
Now I feel like you've done 2 Pokemon, so are you gonna Leaf Hound?
I only put them in
one
alphabetical order. There's no rhyme or reason other than I put them in alphabetical order just for my own sanity.
I'm gonna say a Pokemon.
I'm saying a band.
English hard rock band that formed in 1970.
Right.
Finally got one.
All right, on the board.
On the board.
On the board.
Next one. Roaring Moon. Roaring.
So if this is a Pokemon, and it's called Roaring Moon,
Yes.
what is it, Leah? Like, what would it be?
I don't know. There's been some really weird Pokemon, too, that there is a moon-shaped one. I can picture it, but I don't think it's called Roaring Moon.
I think that's a band.
I'm going with band, too.
Dragon Dark Paradox Pokemon introduced in Generation 9.
What are these fucking Dark Paradox Pokemon? I guess because of the thing. Roaring Moon.
I know. Now we gotta look it up.
It's one of those. I think, is that one of the... It's in Pokemon Scarlet.
Oh, I see. It looks like for people that don't know what this looks like, it's a dual-type Dragon Dark Paradox Pokemon introduced in Generation 9, and it's like a dragon-esque kind of Pokemon, and its wings come out to look like a crescent moon.
Kind of gives me like Phoenix vibes too.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, definitely Phoenix vibes. So okay,
Yeah.
All right. We're halfway there.
This is not easy.
We're halfway there.
Whoa, living on a prayer. That's appropriate right now, except it's not metal.
Yeah. Our next one is Saber Tiger.
This
Band.
is a trick. This is a trick.
Band.
I'm going to say Pokemon. We're going to split the difference.
Japanese heavy metal band from Sapporo.
Yeah. All right.
Pronounced Sabu Taiga.
Sabutaiga!
Sabu Tiger!
All right, next one. Slither Wing.
Pokemon.
I don't know. I'm going to go with Pokemon too.
Slither Wing is a dual-type bug-fighting paradox Pokemon introduced in Generation 9.
Slitherwing. What do you look like, friend? Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember that one. I can mentally picture them. I never remember their names.
That's good for me. Makes the skin fun. All right, we got three left.
Okay, cool. Let's do this.
Type Null.
Oh, it's a Pokemon.
Type Null.
Pokemon. Sounds so confident.
Normal type legendary Pokemon introduced in Generation 7.
Legendary.
Legendary. Exclusive.
All right.
World exclusive.
World premiere.
World premiere.
Coming to Game Pass Day 1.
We should not be allowed to have microphones.
Hey, did you know you can buy them off Amazon and anybody can have a mic?
Yeah.
Yes, I do, Kat. Because the role of podcast right now. Yes, I do.
All right, second to last. Vulcan. Or Vulcane.
V with a like a Star Trek.
Vulcane.
I'm gonna say band. Band.
Yeah, I'm on the band train too.
It's a French hard rock and heavy metal band formed in 1981.
Nice.
They would. So there's a Vulcan. Is that how you say it?
Vulcan, I think.
Vulcan.
Vulcan. I think they went with Vulcan, but like the French pronunciation.
Vulcan sounds more
Vulcan.
sounds more elegant. Vulcan.
Vulcan.
Last one. War Pig.
Both? Could it be both?
No, it's either
Okay.
or. I double checked.
I feel like that's a band.
Double checked. Is this a band? Yes or no?
I feel like War Pig is a band. If it's not, it should be.
Isn't it a song? Isn't it a Black Sabbath song?
Possibly. I was just looking at band names, not song titles, but that might be
I
the
bet
next
you're right.
one.
I bet you're right, because that sounds very familiar to me, which is why I think it might be a
But it might be more
band.
pigs. Anyways.
What?
Is it a band? No, I'm going to go with Pokemon because why not? It's a band, isn't it?
It's a Canadian rock band.
Damn! But now I've got the question. Is it okay?
Yeah, is it
Black
a
Sabbath War Pigs? I'm right. Black Sabbath War Pigs.
There you go.
Generals gathered in their masses. It's that song.
Oh, that
yeah,
sounds called
yeah,
War
yeah,
Pig.
yeah.
Oh,
Just
shit.
like
Yeah.
witches and black masses.
Oh.
Yeah. Excellent.
Knew it. I wasn't crazy.
You get double points. You get double points for that.
No, because I said Pokemon.
Yeah, you got the song from a U.S. metal band.
Oh my god. All right. It's time to get into topic of the week. What's that, you ask? It's the adventure I went on at the Nintendo Switch 2 experience. Well, we're long in the tooth today. That's okay. We're going to take a wee break and be right back. And we're back. And I know this is a long episode this week, but like, guys, there's just so much going on. Like, truly, there's so much going on. It is a great time to be a gamer, and we're not even in June yet.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Like, June is going to be gangbusters.
Nintendo.
Because we've got new console plus
Yeah.
Summer Games Fest. Like, we're not even there yet. It's coming. It's coming. And in anticipation and justifying my purchase of a Nintendo Switch 2 this week, I got to go to the Nintendo Switch 2 Toronto experience, which was happening at the Intercare Center, invited via Nintendo. But it was an event that was open to the public if you were lucky enough to be able to register and get tickets. I think they had some obscene number of people who ended up going through this event over the course of the weekend. I went on Friday. That was like the media and press and also like supplier and all that kind of stuff day. And then, yeah, on Saturday and Sunday, it opened up to the public through the tickets. And good Lord, ladies, not just getting hands on the Switch, but the actual experience itself and how they had crafted this, I was so impressed. We have been to a lot of press events over the years. And I'm not going to lie, going through some of those, like, you're kind of, they often organize you to do different things, see different things, give you playtime, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think I've ever seen the streamlined machine of Nintendo working at the same level like this ever before.
Oh.
To give you an idea, the space that we were in was like a really long open room. And you essentially just followed the path from where you started. When you walked into the space, you saw the entry. Well, you had to go through security, but you saw the entryway where you got your passes, signed in and everything. They had a coat check. And then they had the Nintendo Switch like wall with a curtain.
Oh.
And then you walk through the curtain and you're in another little space that has all of the consoles and set up inside like glass cages and all that kind of stuff with the different orientations and showing off all the different accessories and everything. And you kind of lined up, and then they had another curtain. And you're just kind of waiting there. You're milling around. I got a chance at that point to actually go hands-on with the console. Got the console in my hands. Not playing anything, but the console in my hands. Got to feel its weight. It's a really nice size. It's like, it feels more professional tech equipment, more so than the current Switch. And I don't know if that's because of the weight and the size of the screen, or maybe it has to do with like some of the tactile feel of the material, plus the changes that they have made making this as the second iteration. Like, they've learned. The Switch, the Joy-Cons, that action, like I always found it a little bit difficult to press the button to disconnect them because I have nails. The button and the satisfaction of the pull off and then the snack back on of the magnets that are on there is really nice. And then of all things, the kickstand, which, you know, was pretty puny on the Switch the way it is there now, is essentially the whole width of the screen. And it doesn't just have one snap point. It has enough tension that you can open it right out and lean it fairly almost flat, but just a little bit of a raise, or it can go almost perpendicular to the table. It's like it knows what it's trying to do. Unlike, have you ever tried to fly and play with the Switch in the kickstand mode?
Oh, yeah.
And then it just topples over.
Fucking turbulence. Lady walks too fast with her cart.
Yes, it's gone. So I was always having to prop it up. But now I don't think that's going to be as much of a problem with the Switch 2.
It looks like they learned from stuff like the Microsoft Surfaces.
Yes,
that they have that huge like stand back that it's like you can get a good angle on it.
Yes, probably. So, you know, everybody was kind of milling in, checking in, because we were in there based on times. Like I had a 12:40 start time. So as we were like milling in, getting ready, and then we get to after, you know, exploring around, looking around, everybody's looking at the Switch, doing all that kind of stuff. Then everybody kind of mills up in front of the curtain. And at this point, we hadn't really seen beyond the curtain. And a person comes out and starts to introduce and explain what's going on and all that kind of stuff and how we're going to get to play games. There's different like phases to this, and put us in groups. So I was part of group 1 because I was running solo. Most people had brought their kids. People were there with like extra hands to help film and all that kind of stuff. I was waiting in line and ran into Jess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was in town too, so that was phenomenal. But yeah, so we're like milling around or whatever, so we're waiting. So then they're announcing and they're like, here's what your experience. Are you excited? Blah, blah, blah. What's your favorite character? Whatever. And then they were like, okay, here we go. They open the curtain and it's just a hall of TVs with Mario Kart World on it. And every single TV, almost everyone had a person there from Nintendo to help you out. And it was like 2 stacked. So it was like 2 lines on one side, 2 lines on the other side. And they're just clapping and cheering for you. And it was just like, oh my God, like the hype, the emotions. It was just like, so energetic. And so you walk in through and you go in front of one of the TV setups. And I got to play a bit of Mario Kart World, both on screen and then on TV screen and then in handheld. So got the experience both ways and played through that. And I mean, it's just like, it just looks so good. It looks so goddamn good. And then you play that for a while and everybody's like kind of looking around. You're watching other people, seeing what they're exploring, doing all that kind of stuff. And then we were all done. They ushered us up through and we went through another gateway where it said Mario Kart World Knockout. And so they had us in groups specifically because everybody in our group played Knockout with the 24-player round. And Knockout is really interesting. So before we even get into the game, you're kind of like waiting for other people to kind of set up and stuff. I was like one of the first at the gates. So, you know, I'm poking around. She's like, oh, you can just drive around in free play mode. So I'm just like going around the world, driving wherever until a point comes where everybody's like ready to go. And you can choose what you want to vote on as the course you're going to do for Mario for Knockout mode. So as we're waiting for people to also choose, you're still, you know, playing around in free play mode, free roam. And then once it's ready and everybody's locked in, they have the 24 different icons of what people chose, and it just randomly goes around and it picks one. It conveniently picked the one that I had chosen. And you're off to the races. It's 24 people all driving at the same time. Wow. But Knockout works differently than normal Mario Kart because some of the rounds are like going around a circle. Other ones you're going straight through and it's just a really long racetrack. But the concept here is you want to be one of the 4 near the end because every checkpoint, just like Formula One and qualifying, every checkpoint, the last few get dropped off. So it went from 24 to like 20 to 16 to 12 to whatever. I got out around 12.
Okay.
And,
Wow.
but yeah, oh my God, it was so much fun and absolute freaking chaos because there are new enemies like running around trying to hit you. There are new items that you can pick up. There's just new characters, everything. Like, oh my God, it's just wild. Just playing with 24 people was just crazy.
That would be crazy. Were you able to pick your character?
I was, yeah.
What did you choose? Who did you choose?
So the first one, when I played the first round just normal, I played Yoshi. Then I played a little bit of Princess Peach on handheld because that was already the one that was logged in there. And then I think I was Wario. Yeah, I was Wario. But so it's different. You pick your character and then you pick your car. And you don't do the customizations like you do in the last one where you like choose the wheels and choose the parasol and choose the, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Choose the body. This is like you're picking a car and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't get to see the weather cycle. That's one thing that I didn't get to experience that I was kind of curious about. But I did, experience like different land transformations and things like that and going over water and the like. I really feel like this is going to be outside of the free roam, this is one of the coolest new modes that they could have added to Mario Kart to really spice up life.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's so great.
Yeah, because it brings a bit of that like battle royale element to it.
Yeah,
because battle royale pretty much stole it from Formula.
Yeah,
and Mario Kart's bringing it back to the car.
Yeah,
with this, but it looks like absolute chaos in the best possible way.
Oh yeah, and we were only playing at 100 cc's too, so it wasn't going very fast. I can only imagine what it's going to be like when it's jacked up to full speed. Yeah, that's going to be fun. I think that playing that now, I'm not really sure if you're going to be able to play it in split screen mode or anything. That wasn't something we could figure out. Like, I also don't know. It's like, say the three of us are playing and we need to fill the other 21 seats. Like, can we do that? And it's just rando people playing. I don't know how that's going to work out. But what I did play, especially considering the vibe in there and everybody was cheering, and as people dropped off, they went and found the people who were like near the end and everything, and it was like this kid that ended up winning. It was so cute.
Aww.
After that, we walked through another archway, and I got to try Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Ooh.
Joelle.
Yes.
Oh, good Lord, girl, you're going to like this game.
Oh, yay!
So, the whole concept that you've probably seen in some of the other, trailers and whatever else is that it's a big part around punching and slamming and that kind of stuff. And this is also that you can go pick up gold and try and find crystallized bananas as well.
Amazing.
So played a whole round like that where you're kind of just digging and trying to find things and all that kind of stuff. And then you would encounter, it was a way to kind of teach you the mechanics too of how you can ground pound to collect stuff that's all around you instead of having to run over to it, or maybe do a jump and then slam down, or punch up, punch down, punch left and right, that kind of thing. Also how to battle some enemies. And then we went through to another world and it opened up a little bit more and you got the opportunity to learn there are some bomb-like items that will explode, so you can pick stuff up and rip it and throw it, and teaching you how to do that mechanic. And then also additionally other enemies to kind of battle there and that kind of thing. So fairly short demo, but totally sold me on that game. So I'm really excited about that. The whole digging, cleaning out, it gives me I don't know if you guys have played My Time at Portia or My Time in Sandrock or anything like that, where there's this area where it's you don't really know what's in there, but you intentionally kind of dig up spots and things like that and find items and stuff. A little Minecrafty too when you think about it, when you're trying to look for diamonds. But yeah, very satisfying with DK, and super graphics, gorgeous, really maximizing everything that Switch 2 can do. The crystallized bananas look beautiful. Almost like icy bananas.
We love a Swarovski moment.
Oh my god. Dear Nintendo, please partner with Swarovski and make crystallized bananas, please.
Yes, please. And earrings, please.
Yes.
Earrings, little necklaces. Man, do not limit yourself to my millennial spending habits. Just make it and I will do it.
I don't have a child. I just spend a ton of money on video game stuff. Give me an excuse to buy jewelry that's video game related that's really pretty.
Yes, please.
I don't really need an excuse. And then the last kind of area, which was quite huge too, was where they had like the free play mode. Tons of games there. And they gave us a card with like, if you checked off and played 6 games, you would get like something on your way out. So I went right to Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Ooh. And I got to try that with the Switch controller in mouse action.
Oh.
And you know what? It's really fun that way. Because I'm not super good at that, like, first-person shooter aiming BS. Yep. That made it so much easier. Definitely a learning curve to, like, just because you've got one Switch controller in the other hand, kind of normal, and then that one you're using it, and they had like a big mouse pad there. Now I played something else where I had it not on like a mouse pad, and they were telling me you can also just lay it on your leg too and kind of use it like a mouse. That was really cool. So I got to the boss in that. I almost beat the boss. I was really darn close. But I have a feeling that game's going to do super well as well. It feels... Now, I don't know. I may be wrong, but I'm wondering if there are developers on that team who also worked at Halo and Bungie and 343, because the vibe really feels Halo Combat Evolved-esque in the aesthetic and a lot of stuff too, but polished, like this gen, right? But it has that like throwback vibe to it. So yeah, I'm super intrigued by that one. You know, got to do the whole thing where it's like turn into a ball, roll around. That was actually part of the boss battle too. It was kind of balancing some attacks where you actually had to dodge by going into ball form and all that kind of stuff. Cool. So that was really cool. Then, or out of the corner of my eye, as I was playing Metroid, I saw Civ 7 on Switch. So I was like, okay, let's continue this Joy-Con mouse, adventure. And I went over very few people were over playing Civ. Because I bet you a lot of people were like, Civ? Civilization? Yeah. On a console? Yeah. And you know what? This is how I want to play this game now. I've been really intrigued about it. I've been watching a lot of it online, trying to wrap my head around, like, how does this game work? Because, like, I never played a Civilization game before. And I had someone there with me who was kind of, like, walking me through the tutorial and everything. And playing that on the TV with the controller and mouse mode, I feel like that's going to be the optimal way to play, because there's so much on the screen during that game. Mm-hmm. It's so pretty, but there's so much information for you to go through that, like, I think that's just going to do great. And it, like, when the game, the session started, it did take a while to load, because I, like, set up what my experience was going to be, picking my leader and where I was in different ages and all that kind of stuff. But like once you were in there, it was pretty seamless.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you say that you with the mouse, were you on a table?
Both times I was on a table. During the Metroid one, I had like a mouse pad. But then during Civ, it was just like a flat table. Like there was nothing on top of it, and it worked great.
Okay.
Yeah. It worked great. What'd I do after that? I went and gave Hades 2 a try, and I haven't had an opportunity to jump on that yet. That felt great and looked phenomenal. Then I saw the Nintendo GameCube Virtual Console sitting there, and it had a few games that you could try out. So I gave a spin for Wind Waker on GameCube, along with trying the GameCube controller that is now Switch 2 ready. And that feels very satisfying. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I wish it was the version. I think they had a version come out for that was for Wii U. But no, this is like the virtual console version of the game. But still, it looked really good considering, right, how old that game is. Then I tried out the Kirby and Forgotten Lands Nintendo Switch 2 version. That game looked good before. It looks even better now. And they've added a bunch of stuff to upgrade it for Switch 2. And then for the last go round, because I did want to go and try the Welcome Tour, but there was a bunch of people at that, so I went and tried out Street Fighter 6. And I can't say I've played very much Street Fighter, but it's fun to play on the Switch 2. And got to try with the Pro Controller and everything. That new Pro Controller is also really nice. The material just feels really good in the hand. It's got a nice weight to it.
Good.
So that was my 6 games. There were loads of other games to try. So I saw the Welcome Tour, like I mentioned. Hogwarts Legacy was there. Yakuza 0, Cyberpunk, Super Mario Party Jamboree. And there's probably something that I missed.
Wow.
But yeah, after I was done, and like I was in there a long time. I kind of expected to be there an hour. I got there early, checked in for 12:40. I left at almost 3 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I left and I was checking out and I gave them my card, they gave me a really cute little Nintendo Switch 2 backpack, which I've got over here.
Oh,
What?
fun. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we got that on the way out.
Oh.
It
That is
definitely, my
dope.
Switch 2 is going to be smaller than what needs to be in the backpack, but it's a very nice backpack. And if they're giving those out to everybody who goes through, holy smoke, they made a lot of them. Yeah.
Cool.
The whole experience, the gameplay itself, the console, its form factor, the product improvements they've made, the experience and how they organized it was like top tier. Everybody was so energetic and happy to be there, and just the vibe was just on point. It totally justified the $790.95 I spent the day before to buy this thing. And yeah, I'm really hoping that other people had just as good of an experience as I did, because like it was just phenomenal what they had set up. And yeah, it's a great way to show off a console. So yeah,
That's cool. It's good that like you put down all this money, you shelled it out, and then you went to the event, and the event just like
Confirmed it.
confirmed that was the right thing to do.
Justified it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
and I mean, like, I didn't really have buyer's remorse or anything from buying it, you know?
No.
Like, it is a fair chunk of change, but like I'd mentioned last episode, like, I've known for the past 2-3 years that at some point I was going to be dropping at least $500 on a new Nintendo console. And I know it's money well spent, right?
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
know we do this, but then also beyond that, the amount of games that we play and the amount of joy that Mike and I get out of just doing that, playing those stuff, a lot of the Nintendo games together, that it's worth it. And then just having that hype, it was like almost like a week of hype going
Cool.
into it, and then just kind of living off that high over the course of the weekend. And now,
fun.
you know, it's only a few weeks away and we're going to have the console. So super exciting.
So exciting.
Yeah. Well, it was a long-winded podcast, if I do say so myself. We're running up on now. Obviously, recording time is a little bit different than when you actually hear it, but yeah, we're almost hitting that hour 40-minute mark. Damn,
It's going to be an hour and a half of
Yeah.
podcast. It's a big one.
It's a big one. Hey, look, how often do we get the chance to play a ton of games and go through the process of, you know, trying to buy a new console and getting to test it out? Like, it doesn't happen that often, right?
No.
Every
No.
6, 7, 8 years, you know?
Yep.
Busy spring. I think Summer Game Fest, or what would be E3, I think it's going to be a banger.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a fun time to be a gamer. And with that, it's the conclusion of this show. If you enjoy any of the stories, actually, we didn't talk about any stories. I'm going to try and make a video, a TikTok of my experience, because I shot videos of everything. We'll try and put that in the show notes. I do want to try out that new Instagram app that's like the CapCut meta version and see if I can do something with it as a testing ground. So I might try that. Cool. But yeah, I've got lots of footage of me playing and things like that. Shout out to the folks, the Nintendo helpers that were there, because they helped shoot over my shoulder as I was playing things. So hopefully we'll put that in the show notes for girlsongames.ca. You can always go back to that and check out any articles or news stories or whatever that we talk about each week. If you have the power to rate and review this podcast on the podcast provider where you are consuming it, that would be much appreciated. Why? It helps with discovery, pushes us up in the rankings, and any comments you leave help us build our show. This is also the moment where I ask the crew to shout out their social media handles so you can follow them anywhere and everywhere online. Catherine, where can people find you?
I am CSDSBINS on Blue Sky, Instagram, kind of on Twitter. But you can always find me on the Girls on Games Discord. That's where I do like most of my shit posting nowadays.
Joelle, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at JoelleLauren87 and on Blue Sky at JoelleLauren, but pretty much always checking in with the Girls on Games Discord. Come and say hi.
I am Leah Jewer, most social media platforms, but of course you want to know everything there's to know about Girls on Games. You can track us down at The Girls on Games on Twitter and Facebook. Just Girls on Games, no the in there on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. Discord.me/Girls on Games and continue this conversation and more. But of course, if you ever want to know anything at all, you can track it down at our home base. That's our website, girlsongames.ca. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Joelle. It's been another lovely week in video games, and I guess I'm going to play Clair-Obscur now, because...
Heck yeah, you are.
Yeah, it's calling my name.
It sure is.
Or I'll have decision paralysis as I sit in front of my Xbox again. It's a good time to be a gamer. Have an excellent week, everybody. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.